Hey, what's going on, No Nation? It's your guy, Kelvin Hunt, editor of ChopChat.com. Welcome to the Built for Penmakers YouTube channel, where we talk FSU all day, every day. Hopefully, you see the different setup here. Got a couple, decorations. A few little, check out the little sign on the back. The sound is a little echoey because I've had to change some things around. Let me know if there's a major difference in that, or if you think I need to go back to the old setup that I had. Just trying to play around with some things. Listening to your advice, you said that I needed to put up some decor, so we got a few things. But enough about that. We're going to talk about the Orange Bowl debacle, not necessarily, the losing of the game. I mean, that was expected. We're talking about, what needed to happen if FSU had a chance. And there were a lot of players that we thought may play in the game that wound up not playing in the game, that made a significant impact on the game. That's why earlier this week, when you heard me talk about the depth chart, and I said if certain players play or if they play as many snaps as usual, and that turned out not to be the case. So, it is what it is. FSU fans, we have nothing to hang our heads about. 13-0 is an amazing season. I'm not counting that loss because it's bull crap. The people out here talking about the committee got it right by leaving FSU out of the 14 playoff. Clowns. I have nothing else to say about that. How people don't understand why players wouldn't want to play in a game when you were told the first 13 where you played, bled, hurt. I mean, it's crazy how people don't understand that. Winning the game against Georgia would not change a thing. You wouldn't be a national champion. So it is what it is. But, let's talk about what we saw in the game, right? So I'm going to start with the offense. And one of the bright spots, I guess you could say, would be Brock Glenn. Brock Glenn looked much improved over his appearance in Louisville, in the Louisville game a few weeks ago. I thought he showed good poise, threw some pretty good balls. His receivers didn't help him out too much. There was 3 or 4 drops there. There's probably a couple more balls that were catchable that he made a good throw on. He made one bad throw on the interception. I can't remember exactly when it was, but he threw it right to. He overthrew Hakeem Williams, I know that, and Hakeem had no shot at catching the ball. The other interception was off of a tipped pass that should have been caught, and he had the sack where he got stripped and fumbled, which, I mean, Georgia's quarterback, got strip sacked as well. They just luckily recovered the ball, which is crazy. Georgia could have easily had 3 turnovers in the first half alone, and they just had the ball to bounce their way there in the first half. But Brock dropped the ball in the bucket a couple times. That pass to Kentron Poitier, hey, chef's kiss. The pass to Destin Hill on the sideline, where Hill got his foot down, he just couldn't control the ball all the way to the ground. That was a money throw, and he had a couple of other really good throws. He did miss a couple of those post routes that he'll probably make that throw in a year or two. But the good thing about Glenn was it looked like he wasn't overwhelmed. It didn't look like the game was moving too fast for him, which was a stark contrast to the Louisville game. Now, I did mention in the video earlier this week that Georgia does not have they don't have the tackles for a loss and the sacks that Louisville does. They don't play that aggressively, so that was a factor in the game too. So, and the offensive line gave him pretty good amount of time to make decisions. So credit to them in that particular game. But yeah, that's some promise. That's something to build on with Brock Glenn, especially considering that he missed a lot of fall camp, with the injury after the Southern Miss game. So that was good. Like, again, offensive line, even though those guys were playing dinged up, You know, they did open up a few holes whenever they were doing the direct snap to Jakeem Douglas and Deuce Spann. So, you know, that was a good sign. I know why Mike was doing that. You know, he was, you know, trying to find something that would work, and you know, probably trying to keep the clock running a little bit. But in some ways, I wish he would have just allowed Brock to just, you know, play the game as usual and not do the whole, you know, coming in, going out, coming in, going out. Just run the offense as normal as he would have with, you know, Jordan Travis and whomever. But I get it. I get why he was doing what he did. You know, again, offensively, you know, Portier had a good game, but other than that, you just didn't have a whole lot to go on. You know, Darion Williamson had a couple catches. The receivers, they dropped a few over too. Defense is probably where I'm gonna spend the bulk of this. Again, you had Braden Fisk, who we thought might play. He was listed on the depth chart. You know, he didn't play. Joshua Farmer didn't play. And then obviously Tatum Bethune didn't play. I do want to give a shout out to Malcolm Ray and Kalen DeLoach. Both guys have been at FSU through it all, rock bottom to you know, winning the ACC championship. And you know, Malcolm Ray, you know, he said he was going to enter the portal, and I'm not sure if he officially did or not, but he did play in the game, played a lot of snaps in the game. And I saw him walking off the field in tears, and you know, same thing with Kalen DeLoach. And just want to give a shout out to those two guys, man. I mean, those are two guys that are true Noles. You left it all out there, and like I said, have been at FSU since Mike took over the head coaching job. And so again, you know, they've seen it all, and credit to those guys. But this game, with those guys have been out, you know, it forced a lot of young guys into action. And, you know, we kind of knew. I did a couple of videos back where we talked about needs from the transfer portal and defensive end, linebacker, defensive tackle, wide receiver, and offensive line, where offensive quarterback, where the positions we mentioned. But tonight's game really, when I say tonight, I'm recording this Saturday night. This game really highlighted where FSU needs help as far as defensive ends and linebackers. I mean, whoo, man, they are Patrick Payton. Other than the early strip sack that he got against the tight end, other than that, he got manhandled most of the night. And it's something that, you know, when he was flirting with the whole he's entering the portal thing, and I put it out there because it's true. I said, look, there's a reason why you have more batted balls than sacks. He needs to hit the weight room immediately, like yesterday. I mean, he's not strong enough against the run. He has potential. He's got great length, but he's got a ways to go before he's the player who he thinks he is. Gilbert Edmond did not come close to what I thought he would be this year. You know, I picked on him, and I mentioned in the video I did it before the game that they probably would run on the edge, and they did that a lot. But they had success running up the middle too. But again, that was me thinking you would have Farmer and Fisk and Darrell Jackson in there, which brings me to Darrell Jackson. Darrell Jackson, I mean, it was his first game all year, so you kind of have to give him a pass. But I wasn't blown away by what I saw while he was out there. I mean, you know, it's one thing to practice. You know, I mean, you can practice at a certain intensity, but I mean, games are totally different. So, and again, you know, they haven't played a real game in almost a month too. So I kind of want to give him a pass, but at the same time, I wasn't just absolutely blown away by him. You know, so when we talk about linebacker play, whoo, man, they got to go to the portal big time. Got to go to the portal big time. Omar Graham flashed on the earlier screenplay. that was a really nice play by him. But other than that, there wasn't a lot to look forward to. When we talk about the secondary, I mean, you got to give your hat tip to UGA players on like 2 or 3 of those pass plays. I mean, it was really good coverage on a couple of those. One was against Quindarius Jones. He was as good as coverage you can have, and he was fighting hands and everything, and still caught the ball. Then there's another one with Q Jones, and it was an interference, and he just didn't turn his head around, but he had grabbed the receiver before he had the ball was on the way or whatever. So it was a legit call. Number 3, man. Number 3, you already know. I mean, it is what it is. But FSU had a chance to intercept a couple balls, man. Conrad Huzzy had a chance to intercept the ball and missed it. Fentrell Cypress had an opportunity to get an interception and missed it. You gotta capitalize on opportunities, man. But again, it was you're just really undermanned in that game, and it just kind of highlights where you really need help. I mentioned from the portal you need a wide receiver. I feel like you definitely need that, because other than Portier, Hakeem had a catch, I think it was, and like I said, Destin Hill had the one. He almost caught the ball. Williamson, he was okay, but then he didn't. There's a couple things he didn't do well either. You need Kyle Morlock. I mean, he had a couple passes that he missed, and they need help. They need help at the receiver position. Offensive line again, though, didn't play terribly, but I would still go with a couple guys from O-line. Robert Scott hurt again, so again, I think you still need a tackle and an interior guy. But they did open up some holes, and Jakeem Douglas, found some wiggle room in there. And Gazelle Holmes, I would have liked to see more from him and Sam Singleton. I think Singleton got on there really late, but because I only had like 10 carries, and there was nothing consistent. It was kind of like he was in the game, then he was out. So, I don't know what's going on there. I did see that FSU had offered a running back from the portal, so that could be telling with what they think of the running back room there with Lawrence Toafili out. But defensive end and linebacker, I know they got the kid from Purdue that's supposed to visit in January, and that is a must get. That they have got to get a player of that caliber at defensive end. And if they can get 2 or 3 defensive ends, take them. Linebacker, they need at least 2, possibly even 3 linebackers. Those freshmen have a long way to go. Omar Graham, Blake Nicholson. I saw Justin Pryor out there, along with Deloach. They got a long way to go, and you're probably going to need to make a change on the staff somewhere. You got to get. I think. Oh man, I was looking at the game like, woo. There's a lot of missed tackles, a lot of missed assignments. But we'll see what we gather from the portal. And, and I know some people are kind of worried that this performance in the Orange Bowl will affect who FSU, their portal recruiting. I don't think that'll be the case. I think you have, if it were high school players, of course it would, because those guys are, usually less mature. They make more emotional decisions. Whereas the good thing with FSU is they have a track record of success that they can point to at linebacker with Bethune, at defensive end with Jermaine Johnson, with Jared First. And, so I think guys can look at that, or you can just turn on the tape from the Orange Bowl game and say, hey, look, you see what's happening right here? you would be right there and you would help immediately. And I think with transfer guys, that's what they're looking for, playing time. And obviously FSU just went 13-0, so you can always reflect back and say, hey, look, we had half our team out. So I mean, what do you expect? I guess one thing to think about is if FSU was at full strength, what would when I say full strength, I'm talking about with Jordan Travis and everybody. What would that game have looked? What would it look like? I know Georgia fans will probably come in here and be like, "Oh, we still would have blew you out by 30 or whatever." But listen, man, that FSU defensive full strength is going to give anybody fits. I mean, anybody fits. The way that Georgia was running up the middle there and on the edge, that's not happening with Jared Verse out there. It's not happening with Joshua Farmer, Braden Fisk, and Fabian Lovett and all those guys in the middle. It's just not happening, man. The way they were throwing the ball, it's not happening against a secondary, man. So it is, not frustrating, but it was like, man, you kind of feel like if you were at full strength, you could give Georgia all they wanted and then some. And I know Georgia fans are coming here and be like, oh, whatever. But I'm telling you, look, I watched FSU all year. I've watched Georgia several times this year. I mean, I saw Georgia struggle with South Carolina and Auburn and some other teams. And, FSU with 3 weeks to prepare, healthy, can beat anybody in the country. And I think that's what I'm going to remember most about this 2023 team, along with just understanding what they did to get to this position, because you had all these guys last year: Jordan Travis, Trey Benson, Johnny Wilson, Fabian Lovett. They all decide to come back for an opportunity to help FSU win its first ACC championships 2014 and to compete for a national championship. That's why Keon Coleman, in his statement on Twitter, he was like, he was a clear for the draft. One of the reasons he came to FSU was the opportunity to, compete for a national championship. And, they didn't get that opportunity. And people that are outside of the program, they don't understand that, I guess, when guys could have left last year and they put that on hold. So when you talk about culture, it's like, oh, well, FSU has, they have poor culture because, they didn't want to play with the brothers in the Orange Bowl. When those same guys played in the Cheez-It Bowl last year just so that FSU could win 10 games for the first time since 2016, they decided to come back to try to win a championship. And so understanding that, and the understanding that that opportunity got taken away, not because you lost a game, but because some clowns, in a room somewhere wanted an SEC team in the college football playoff. And that was the biggest reason why. And the crazy thing is you have, they're talking about, winning with style points and, an offense or whatever. And you look at these bowl games and it's 3-3 at halftime or 10-7. And I mean, bro, that's why you play the games. And, unfortunately, FSU didn't get an opportunity. And, it is what it is. And that's really all you got to go from this season. So now you turn your attention to what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. And so FSU is going to be busy in the portal. Spring semester is going to be starting in like a week or so. And this is when FSU is going to do most of their damage in the portal. Like I said, you need a quarterback. You need, again, defensive linemen, offensive linemen, wide receiver, linebackers. And I expect that Mike Novell will and the staff will do their their due diligence and get some quality players in here. At the same time, you know, I think a couple of coaches' contracts are up in February, so it'll be interesting to see if any news breaks as far as extensions or somebody possibly going elsewhere. So that's something that we'll need to keep an eye on between now and the next month or so. But again, you have nothing to hang your head about, FSU fans. It's been a great year. You won the ACC for the first time since 2014. You beat both rivals. You beat Clemson for the first time since 2014. A lot of bragging rights still on the line, you know, for the off season. And so with that, that's about all I have for this Orange Bowl. We'll see what happens over the next few days with the portal. I'll probably break down a few things from the Orange Bowl with Brockland and maybe some other things. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Again, if you didn't know, we do have super chats and stickers available. If you want to contribute to the site, feel free to do so. It will be much appreciated. We also have the Beautiful Playmaker community. You can become a part of. There's a little join button there on the main page. You can join there, and we have different types of content that you have access to. And so, yeah, if you like the channel and you enjoy the content, you know, would appreciate it if you would consider contributing that way. And again, let me know what you think about the setup here, and make sure you like this and share it. And it's always much appreciated. And until next time, we'll see you guys soon. Go Notes.